Yeah, just some of the, offhand, some of the records I thought were available and tried to obtain were some from the Secret Service, for example. There's, with respect to 9/11, there's a controversy about what exactly happened in the Presidential Emergency Operations Center with Vice President Cheney and some people down there. And
right.
I tried to obtain a list of people who were admitted entry to that location on the morning of 9/11, and the Secret Service said they had no record of such people. And they were the ones who controlled access to that room.
Oh,
at the White House, the bunker in the basement,
right.
The Emergency Operations Center. And other requests with other agencies, there's just so many. It would take a day or so to cover all of them, I think.
Right. Well, now, and obviously, we're talking about, with your effort, mainly focusing on the events of 9/11, but I'm suggesting to folks out there, any event that they want, even in this thing going on with Yemen, potentially requesting FOIA information, maybe finding out information about the folks that are behind these darn scanning machines, the people that are really making money, and what levers are being pulled inside government to make this all come together.
Oh, yeah. There's a variety of topics that could be served by the FOIA, in addition to 9/11.
Right. Now, how is it that you get something like this started?
Basically, just try to determine what agency has the information it is that you're seeking,
right.
And then basically almost all of them, except to my knowledge the FBI, allow you to do requests over the Internet.
So, I see. So you contact their office via the Internet or something. They offer FOIA requests on their sites? Yeah,
there are generally FOIA links pretty prominently displayed on each agency webpage.
Surprising, huh?
Sorry?
I said surprising, considering
how...
they're
usually
right.
at the bottom somewhere along with other information.
Right.
If you look, you can generally find them. A couple of them are not so easy to find, but for the most part they were.
I see. And now, what if there's I know there's a lot of people out there that do not have Internet access. How does a person go about contacting these groups, or contacting these agencies to initiate this process?
To be honest, I'm not sure. You may have to open up the Blue Pages.
Right.
But if one really needs to, they can just go to a public library and access a computer there. And once you're online, it's really pretty easy to do.
Well, that's great. Well, you know what? We should probably do a bottom-of-the-hour break real quick. I wanted to remind folks, though, the importance of what we're talking about here, and that the fact that this is, like I said, this is something that we can do on an individual basis, get out there and requesting information. And honestly, like I said, me personally, we've got to do something, and this is something, a positive effect that we can do. So, folks, listen up, try to get involved, and submit those requests. We're going to do a real quick bottom of the hour break, though, so everybody hang in there. We'll be right back right after this. All right, folks, welcome back to Speak Out Radio, and let's not forget, folks, that we also have a supporter of this radio program, Hans World Military Surplus, located at 2908 East Lake Mead Boulevard. They've got an amazing collection of work clothing, Dickies, Carhartts, all kinds of work boots, camping gear, mining gear, just a whole bunch of good stuff up there. I recommend that you go in there. You could walk around in there for days and not see all the stuff that they have. And believe me, folks, in a time of being prepared, there's no better time to go check out Hans World of Surplus, 2908 East Lake Mead Boulevard. And in fact, you can even call them up there, 649-6819. That's 649-6819, Hans World of Surplus, and we always thank them for supporting this radio program. And so, folks, getting back with our radio program, we have our special guest with us this morning, Mr. Aidan Monahan. He's a member of the 911blogger.com group. He's a contributor up there, and he's a gentleman that's been doing a lot of stuff with the Freedom of Information Act. And, Aidan, how about it? Now, the information that you've got, the work that you've done, are you feeling like you're making some progress with this stuff?
I think so. If for no other reason than demonstrating that perhaps as much information as I would like to be available, it apparently isn't.
Right.
That just seems to be the general theme that has been derived from my work, I think. The latest edition of the Loose Change film series seemed to focus on that aspect, that, so much that should be there seems not to be there. Well, one other telling example might be World Trade Center Building 7, which contained an office of the Securities and Exchange Commission, and also contained on the day of 9/11, 3,000 investigative files of Wall Street scandals. And from them, I requested a bibliography of all the records from the SEC that were lost that day, and they replied that they had no such information.
Kind of no surprise.
Yeah, I mean, so where did it all go? I mean,
right. Well, and the reason that I asked the question, though, about whether you felt effective is because, there's a lot of people out there looking for something to do. And I know that it's got to be frustrating at times. There's definitely hurdles that you come up against. I mean, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it, of course. So, I mean, this is obviously going to take some effort. But, I think it's important for people to feel like they're having some effect, to keep them driven, to keep them motivated in doing something. We all need to feel like we're having some kind of a positive effect on what's going on.
Yes, true. And I think with regards to other topics, the FOIA may be of value.
Right.
It's certainly at the state level and even local level. I know some communities do support FOIA laws and public access to records. Yeah, so I mean, I would encourage it, certainly. If there's a topic out there of interest and, pursue it, by all means.
I would say that you've tackled probably the toughest topic to try to get information on. The events of 9/11, all that being used as a justification for the passage of the anti-terrorism bill and the Patriot Act, and I mean, all the way to these darn body scanners that we're dealing with today. All of this stuff is potentially a direct result of the events of 9/11. So to get real good, solid information about those events, undoubtedly are going to be extremely difficult. But like you said, there's probably a ton of other events, things that people could get involved in and dig out information about that might be a little more easily had.
Yes. And for example, with respect to 9/11 and the availability of records, or the assumption that some records should be there that are not, in fact, as some of us may be aware, there were explosive residues found in the dust created by the collapses of the World Trade Center. They were highly engineered explosives, and there were only a couple kids on the block, so to speak, making that stuff circa 2001. The Department of Energy and a branch of the Department of Defense, I asked that Department of Defense organization for records pertaining to that research. And in response, they advised me that although research may have been conducted, it may not have been submitted, which means, which can be translated loosely as meaning that the federal agencies seem to be loose in what records they make available to the public and which ones they don't. They don't seem to be held to any hard rules, apparently. There doesn't seem to be any independent oversight of what they're making available to the public.
Right.
And I determined that based on that response. It may be a premature determination, but hard not to escape that that potential.
Right. Well, and now you're touching on some stuff, and now to move beyond, the whole Freedom of Information Act idea. I mean, obviously, I hope that folks are out there that see this as a potential tool for their benefit that they can use. But now, some of the evidence of really what kind of effect it can have is, in fact, you have come up with some pretty decent evidence. I was enjoying reading about the information that you pulled out about the contractors that were involved. It seemed that a year up to the event of 9/11, there were several contractors that were involved with very structural aspects of the building, including the fireproofing material and many other things. And tell us about where some of that kind of information has led you and what you found out about that.